Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you very much. Um, so what I'm going to talk to you today is about designing high impact slides for presentations. So I understand that a lot of you here are Toastmasters and you are very good at public speaking. And most of the time you would be speaking without the slides. But sometimes in your presentation, you might want to have some slides to reinforce the things that you speak with. And so what I'm going to share with you today is to how to build or design high impact slides to, to help you with your presentation, with your public speaking. So the whole idea here is you want to wow your audience further. Not only just a small wow, but also a bigger wow and a bigger wow, right? So combining your public speaking together with the slides that you use in your presentation, I think that is a good combination and it can make your presentation a big wow. A little bit about myself. Okay, as Michelle has already mentioned, I'm the founder of Sticky Spy. Okay, Sticky Spy is a training organization that I founded, and the training program that I have, which is a corporate training program and coaching, is called the Amazing Sticky Presentation. And what I do every day would be in terms of visual communication, slide design, and presentation. So that is what I specialize on, in this area of coaching and training. And I'm sure you do agree with me, with good presentation skill as well as good public speaking skill, you will actually have a lot of opportunities. So I help individuals and organizations get noticed. And I'm sure when you do your public speaking, you also want people to notice you, right? And with that, I also help them to gain confidence as well as to gain respect. Right? I'm also an author of 2 books. These 2 books are available in the local bookstore. The first book is Sticky Presentations. It's a book that came out many years back. And that book contains new ideas to help you start and encourage you to build presentations. The second book, Spinning Idea, has a lot of slide examples. So it's about slide design and a lot of case study on how to do better slides, how to design high impact slides. These 2 books are available locally at the bookstore, and they also has been translated in Thai language, which is available in Thailand, not in Singapore. Okay, so that's so much about a little bit about me and my books and things like that. So we are going to talk about wow. How do you wow your audience in your presentation? All of us know that pictures actually is very interesting. Pictures, oh, I hear echo. Okay, so pictures. So we can use pictures in our slide to make our presentation exciting, right? Because pictures is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. Other than pictures, we can also use things like numbers, right? Not all the time we can use pictures. For example, if we are presenting in a corporate environment, a structured presentation, something too formal, you cannot just have all your slides having pictures, right? And sometimes you want to have data. And so how do you create slides containing data that can be high impact? One way is to make your information big so that people can see. The other thing that we usually do is also convey charts, right? We take numbers from Excel spreadsheet and convert into chart. But if you use the things that PowerPoint give you by default, it's not very exciting. Okay? And so what you want to do is you want to manipulate the chart that you build into something with higher impact. Something that your audience can see the data easily, something that your audience can focus on the key information. And that is how you want to wow your audience. Okay, so the whole idea here is to break the rules. Break the rules of what? I would say break the rules of PowerPoint. When we do our presentation slide, we usually would use PowerPoint, which is the key thing, the software that most of us use. Of course, I know that some of you, if you are using the MacBook, you would use a keynote presentation software, right? But most of us would use PowerPoint. And I would say that do not use the PowerPoint template, right? So PowerPoint template is what gives us a lot of text, a lot of bullet points, and that is not very good. And if you always use the PowerPoint template, you most likely end up with slides like that. Slides like that are not very good, right? Too much things to read, and it will end up, sometimes you realize that the presenter will read from the slide, and that is also not very good. That doesn't create that wow. That doesn't create that high impact, right? And so, this is also another example of a slide that is done with PowerPoint, that is built with PowerPoint. And you could see that there's a lot of text, and also there are numbers in the tables. And these are not very good examples, right? So I always tell people that if your audience cannot see what you show on your slide, it's as good as not showing anything, right? So when you want to put information on your slides, you want to make it big enough. You want to make sure that audience can see the information, so you can create that wow. You can create that high impact, when you deliver your speech, as well as you reinforce whatever you're talking about with information on your slide. Okay, so you want to break the rules, but breaking the rules in PowerPoint will not get you in jail, right? So you will not end up in jail, right? You only will be better by breaking rules in PowerPoint. I want to talk about also, to bring you into another idea, to talk about the last slide in your presentation slides, right? The last slides in your whole presentation deck. What do you usually put there? What do you usually show? Okay, so if you are with me, type on the chat, what do you usually show on your last slide? Okay, so good, wonderful. Thank you very much. I see a lot of you say thank you. A lot of you say Q&A, summary, conclusion, right? And then the end, So I want to tell you that there are 3 things that you cannot put on your last slide, which is thank you, the end, and Q&A. Why? Because after your presentation, let's say for example, you are presenting to a client, right? And after your presentation, you might stay back about 5-10 minutes, to answer question. And what is your client or what is your audience looking at? Your last slide, right? And your last slide is the longest exposed slide. And if you put the end, thank you, or Q&A, it has no value, right? When you ask your audience, what was the last thing you remembered from my presentation? Most likely they will say, oh, the end. Or most likely they will say thank you, right? Or Q&A. And that's not very good. So, but if you bring it to another context and you say that you put an advertisement for 10 minutes in television, how much would it cost? Very expensive, right? So the last slide is also a very expensive slide. So don't waste it with thank you, the end, or Q&A. Put something valuable. Maybe your company vision or mission statement, if you want to, or take 1 or 2 of the things, the content from your presentation and repeat it at the last slide. A takeaway message, right? Or action plans that you want your audience to do, after the presentation. If you cannot think of anything else, why not put your company logo really big right in the middle of the slides? At least for branding purposes, right? You do not waste that space. Okay, so that's what I want to share with you. The impact of the last slide. That's a very important slide. And you shouldn't waste it with thank you, the end, or Q&A. So the whole idea about having information on your presentation slide is for your audience to see. You don't want them to read, because when they start to read, they cannot hear what you say, right? People can only do one thing at one time. They cannot do both. They cannot look and read the information as well as listen to you. So what you want to do is that in presentation, you want them to listen to you. And so what you want to do is also, you want to create information on the slide for them to see, so that they can listen to you. They can focus on your listening, and then you reinforce what you want to say, what you want them to see on the slide. Okay, so let me show you a couple of examples. This is this is a slide done on PowerPoint. This is reading material. People read too much text. What you want to do is to change to something that people see. This is something that people see, right? Really big information, clear and nice. You can also build it with charts, or you can also put it together with images, right? Things have to be big. People must be able to see your information when you use it on the presentation slide, right? So what's the difference? Let's compare, right? The one on the left is a lot of things for you to read, and those are document, those are report. You read document, you read report, you don't read presentation slide. You see presentation slide. Another example, you could see that when we build charts, column charts, sometimes we put too much information on the chart. The one on the left has too much information. When people look at it, they're confused, they cannot see, right? The one on the right, which is much better, right? The information is clear, focused, and you want to show key information. You don't want to show information that is the raw data, because raw data people cannot understand, right? So at the end of the day, you want to create that wow. And today, not all the time we present face to face because of the pandemic. We all are doing presentation online, virtually, right, through the computer. And so, in the computer, you would see that the situation would be like that. The screen is very small, but it has to contain so many things. All the faces, all the audience. What happens if you share a presentation slide that has so many things in it, so much things? I'm sure that there is no wow in it. And so what you want to do is to make sure that your slides has information that is big enough for your audience to see. And that's how you can create that wow. You want to blow your audience away in your presentation, in the way you speak, in the way you show the information on your presentation slide. The whole idea here is impact. Impact is very important because when you have impact, you create excitement. So your audience will be excited. When your audience are excited, it leads into agreement. Okay, what happens if your audience agree? When they agree with what you say, then it creates that I want syndrome, right? When they have this I want, they will always want to buy things from you, want to get things that you have, right? And then at the end of the day, they get satisfaction. They get satisfaction, you as the presenter also get satisfaction because you are seeing that your audience are satisfied, right? So, a couple more examples, something like that, not very exciting, too many things and too much information to read, no impact. Change it to something like that. It's still text information, but it's more visual, right? Things that people see. Another example that I took up from a real presentation, a lot of corporate slides, you see that, wow, they like to have a lot of slides talking about their organization. Not very exciting, too many things to read. Take key information and change it into something like that. A lot better, right? Straight away, I know that I can see the key information, and then after that, I go on the top, go to the bottom, and see what are the other things that the company has, right? PowerPoint chart, not very exciting. Change the same chart into something which has higher impact. And this is how you want to convert information that people read into information that people see. So how do you go about doing that? So I just want to share with you 3 tips or 3 steps that you can think about and try out the next time you build your presentation slide. Number 1 is that always start with a blank page, because the blank page doesn't have constraint, right? You are not working on the PowerPoint template, which are constrained within the 4 corners of your slide. You can draw anything, you can write anything. So start with a blank page, because a fresh start is always a good start. Don't get all the information that is complexity that you have brought down your creativity. Number 2, plan on paper. Throw away PowerPoint for the time being. When you're doing planning, always plan on paper, because the technology will get into your way. You will always think, how big should I have the font? How do I make the font color? How do I move the font, and how do I get pictures? You don't have to do that. Think and draw it directly on your on the paper, which is the best way to plan your presentation, right? So focus on the content, not the technology. And if you use PowerPoint, you always focus on the technology, and you will get lost when planning and designing your slides. And number 3 is to be visible. Make sure that everything is big. You know, when you have things that are small, people cannot see. So make everything big. And that is very important. You know, people must be able to see the information that you put on your presentation slide in order for it to give you that impact, in order for them to want to agree with you, in order for them to want to accept the information that you are sharing with them. Right? And so, 3 things. Start with a blank page, plan on paper, and number 3, be visible. So these are the 3 things that I want you to think about it the next time when you build your presentation slide. Think about it. You know, don't start with PowerPoint. Don't bring out PowerPoint at all. Bring up blank papers, pencil or pen, and start drawing on paper. You know, plan on paper and make things big. You don't have to be constrained into just one slide. You can have as many slides as you want, but you know, watch your timing. Watch your timing, right? And so those are the 3 things that I want you to take back with you in this short presentation of mine, right? And if you want to learn more, you could actually consider getting the book that I have, right? The book that I'm recommending is my first book, which is Sticky Presentation. As of today, it's in the 3rd edition, right? So the first 2 editions has been all sold out. And so I'm in my 3rd edition now. And today, I have a special, which is the 50% off. You save 50% and it ends midnight today. So if you want to give it a try and you want to take a look at more information about the book, you can actually scan the QR code that you see here. Or if you don't have a camera or a scanner, you could actually just type in that URL that is there, right? And I also you know, produce a video, right, on YouTube every week, right? So every week I upload a video, and so the videos itself also have ideas and new things that I talk about presentation, right? So if you want to learn more about it, you could also go to my video channel, YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/stickyspy, and subscribe to my channel, right? Okay, great. So wonderful. So for those of you who are not Toastmasters yet and you want to be a good speaker, right? A good public speaking speaker, right? Consider going to the Toastmasters booth and become a member. And with that, you can practice. You know, they have a very nice structured program for you to practice and become a competent speaker. Okay, so that's all I have. Thank you very much for, you know, joining this conference and listening to me. Thank you.